It seems that people are more interested in mysteries than ever, and this has led to amateur researchers to carry out their own studies. One place you wouldn't think would be of interest is that of Antarctica. Antarctica has long been at the centre of a wide variety of theories, making some suggest that there's more going on down there than what we're being told. Couple this with the alleged anomalies said to be hiding beneath the ice, and it's not hard to see why Antarctica has become a hotspot for strange activity. So why are people obsessed with this region? Various theories have said that UFOs can be seen in this location, and that because other objects have been found here like massive machinery, they suspect that government officials have retrieved some of these artifacts. This is not backed up by the government, and they say that what people are seeing is just rock formations. However, those that have studied the area have said these aren't just rocks, and that people who have retired from the government have backed up these claims that they're UFOs. It's not just unidentified flying objects that are said to be under the ice. Others have said they found an entrance that leads into the middle of the Earth. There's some people that believe our Earth actually holds another mini-Earth inside it, saying that there's various locations across the planet which act as entrances. This discovery was made by an amateur researcher while scanning Google Earth, and they think they found one of these entrances. They state that the hole is big enough for man-made objects to go in and out. Another interesting idea that's gained some traction over the years is that UFOs don't actually come from the sky, but rather they live inside our planet and inside our oceans, and they use these alleged entrances to go to and from their bases. Although this idea sounds interesting, it's important to note that scientists have said this isn't true, and there's no proof of this other than strange-shaped rocks. One of the most interesting accounts in regards to these mysterious entrances is that of Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Going back in 1947, Richard Byrd of the United States Navy would fly directly to the North Pole in a daring mission. Interestingly, it was during this trip that he said he entered the Earth, something that at the time confused many people. This second Earth, or inner Earth as it's been labelled, would suggest that there was an opening that he was able to fly into, and that it must have been big enough for his plane. He not only said this, but also told of the incredible things he witnessed. He said that once inside the Earth he was able to see some incredible sightings, some of which included mountain ranges, wildlife, waterfalls and vegetation. The animals he witnessed though were different to our modern day animals, saying that they were much larger in size and looked prehistoric. It's said that he was able to see a creature that closely resembled that of a mammoth, and that it was hiding in the vegetation. While flying above this interesting new world, he was able to find somewhere to land, after which he said he was then greeted by flying machines. Once these crafts arrived, they then signalled him to follow them to another location. He described these machines as being much more advanced than his plane, and that piloting them were beings much more advanced than any human. Once they reached the location, the being said this land is called Agartha. After the long flight, the crew needed rest, and the beings were very happy to let them do this. Once they'd rested, the team was then taken to the inner world's ruler. However, they were told this wasn't a chance meeting, and that they'd been trapped the entire time. They allowed them to enter because they wanted to talk to the men about the United States atomic projects, saying that they needed to be stopped as no good is going to come from them. They further said they'd been monitoring the nation, and decided that now would be the best time to make contact. This was in the hopes of making peace and moving forward to try and create a new and better world, one where such atomic weapons were not needed. The crew were honoured that the beings trusted them. After this short encounter, Admiral Byrd and his crew were then taken back to the outside world. After this mind-blowing encounter, their lives would never be the same again. Back in January 1956, Admiral Byrd once again travelled back to this region. This new crew was able to locate an entrance and were able to fly inside. It's reported they were able to get a few hundred miles inside the inner Earth, where once again they encountered the crafts and the beings. as soon as the Admiral arrived back, the American press caught wind of the mission. However, nothing was released, and all information and evidence was eventually lost. The encounter wasn't told by anyone, and those who did mention it were silenced. Unfortunately, although this story is incredible, there's no way to back up the claims of what the men saw. It's an incredible story and one that will likely be told for the foreseeable future. It's interesting to note that Antarctica is not as lifeless as some might think. It's believed by many different researchers from around the world that the continent of Antarctica was once inhabited with that of a lush and green forest surrounding the entire area. Evidence of this can be found when looking at a team of archaeologists and researchers that led an expedition in Antarctica in November of 2016 that lasted for several months ending in January 2017. The team found evidence of lush forest in the region after locating and identifying several different traces of fertile growing lands, areas of climate change in the past, as well as large amounts of fossil fragments from ancient trees that dated as far back as more than 260 million years. Interestingly, this timeline correlates with one very important event in the past, the Permian period, also known as the greatest mass extinction event in the history of the world. Before this event, there was much more carbon naturally in the atmosphere, which created lush green forests all around the world. This large amount of carbon allowed for incredible diversity, the forestification of deserts, and the ability for the atmosphere to support larger forms of animal life on land. It's interesting then to consider this idea that roughly 260 million years ago, the continent of Antarctica would have been a densely populated lush green forest, with a tremendous variation in wildlife and ecosystems. A professor at the University of Wisconsin, known as Dr. Goldbranson, argues that the continent as a whole was much warmer and even more humid than many areas today. In fact, he has overwhelming evidence that the area would have been closely in resemblance to the forests of present-day Siberia, a place today with a thriving population, vast resources and a stable economy. Additionally, at the rate of the burning fossil fuels, of which is reintroducing this carbon into the atmosphere that was lost during the Permian extinction, we will soon be reaching atmospheric conditions once again of which will allow the continent of Antarctica to be a thriving forest within a few more hundred years. So what do you guys make of Antarctica and the alleged mysteries it's holding? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.